There's just so many wonderful presenters here at the Australiasian Piano Pedagogy Conference this year, and we want to make sure that we get as much of these learnings to you as possible. So we're putting together a teacher resource pack just especially for you to bundle in as much of the handouts and the resources that we come by this week. So make sure you register and get your kit.
Joanna McGregor, welcome to Australia. So lovely to have you here.
It's always great to be in Australia, thank you.
You've performed here many times.
Many times, yeah, and I feel very at home here. It's great to be
Well, the temperature's about the same as London at the moment, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
So I went to your talk this morning. I was really lovely to hear you talk about that your mum taught you piano.
Yeah.
Now, so many people I've heard say, I would never teach my own child. And how long did your mum teach you for?
Well, really, I only ever had two teachers. She taught me right up to 17, and then when I was 17 I went to somebody called Christopher Elton, who was teaching at the Academy back then. And I know it's the fashion now for pianists to claim that they've got about 37 different teachers for their biographies, because they, but I made do with two. And I don't think it is easy to teach your child, but she taught me in a very casual, hands-off way, and she made sure I knew a lot about different types of music. So.
That's fantastic. I always love to have kids learn chords and play jazz and things like that. It really gives them, I think it really gives them some really understanding of where classical music is.
Well, I played the guitar when I was a kid, and because of that, I understood about harmony, because if you just strum chords on the guitar, you have a real harmonic sense, which I think is a really useful thing for a pianist, because obviously we're dealing with a lot of harmony all the time. And in terms of jazz, my mum and I were used to play Take 5 together on the piano, Beatles tunes and all that kind of thing. So, just used to muck around, really. I mean, I was always taking tunes and mucking around with them, so, which I think is important to be able to do that.
Well, I noticed you were talking about composition and encouraging students to compose. And improvise as well.
Completely. Well, I think it's just part of the armoury of being a pianist. I mean, no one's claiming you've got to be as good as Rachmaninoff, say, who was able to do, play brilliantly and compose. Same with Koffiev and Ravel. I mean, there's a great history of composers who were great pianists, and I just think it's part of the tradition, It's part of the tradition of being a pianist. That's why I stuck up those pictures of Busoni and Liszt, Dino Lopati. I mean, all these people who are able to improvise and write their own cadenzas, transcribe, all of that. It's just kind of what you should do.
Exactly. And developing the ear, what would you say to young teachers, beginning teachers, how to help develop a student's ear?
Well, I think doing a combination of, because everybody's got to learn to read music, and I played by ear for far too long, because I had a really good ear, and I used to pretend that I was reading the music to my mum. I just pretended. Whereas in fact, I just had this ear, and I just pick everything up by ear, which is okay up to a point. And finally, I had to, when pieces got really quite hard, I had to learn. But I think that combination of playing off the music and really being good at sight reading, but also just picking things up is good. I think harmonies, learning, imitating, hearing something and trying to imitate it on the piano. I think that's a good skill to have, and it gives you a good ear, because of course being a pianist, you don't. The piano is in tune for you. It's not like playing a stringed instrument.
That's right.
But you want to have a really good sense of intervals and to be able to sing back, all that. I used to love all those oral tests I did as a kid. I thought they were really fun.
And Benjamin Britten, you were saying, was one of your...
Yes. I think he probably was the first composer I kind of was aware of, contemporary composer, because he was still around when I was very young. And that sense of what a living composer does, what they do, how they are. And of course, in his case, he was a fantastic conductor and pianist as well, started a festival. So I think he was a very good role model to have when I was young. And then I moved on to other, I discovered other people like Stravinsky or Charles Ives, a nutcase, but real fantastic, exciting.
And you mentioned festivals, and you do a lot of organising of festivals.
Yes, I have done. I've been running festivals almost non-stop for the last 20 years, and it's a lot of work, it's a lot of admin and emailing. And it's fun because you can invite musicians you'd like to work with, and you can create things, interesting things. Very often I invite singers and then they say, oh, but you will play for my recital, won't you? And I go, yeah, sure. I'm faced with learning all this stuff that I've never played before, but I mean it's great. And but I'm going to finish it this summer because I just want to spend a bit more time doing writing. There's a couple of books I want to write. I want to write some music. I want to actually write my transcriptions down properly because they're actually sketches, and I can just make them up while performing. So I think there's quite a lot of work I need to do, and so something's got to give.
And talking about writing, we have your books here, which is Piano World. And so when did they come out?
Oh, they came out a while ago now, I think in the early 2000s, and Faber Music approached me to do them, and I was really delighted. I think funnily enough, they didn't realise that I taught a lot of young kids through my mother, you see, because she had this teaching practice when I was growing up, and very occasionally she might have a cold or something, and she'd say, as I was in my late teens, she said, would you step in and maybe do a couple of lessons for me? And so I was teaching these very young, and I knew what it was like to, sit down with a 5-year-old boy who couldn't sit still, and you needed to get him to focus.
And get them to move. And I love the backing tracks, or I listened to the CD and I went, oh, you need to get someone to do a video, I think.
Cartoon, we spoke about this because they were deliberately designed as so this is a wonderful cartoonist did everything, but I actually delivered the manuscripts with the pictures of the characters that I wanted them to look like, and he was really wonderful. And then I remember making that CD. We went into a studio in Liverpool, and my husband, who's theatre director, brought some actor friends of his.
Oh, brilliant.
I think I was probably playing the piano. It was a bit of a laugh, just putting that CD together.
I bet it was fantastic fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming to Australia, and especially to come to the Australiasian Piano Pedagogy Conference.
Well, it's the first day, and I'm going to really enjoy it. I know.
And you're doing a masterclass tomorrow.
Yep.
It's very exciting.
Masterclass tomorrow. I've just seen the repertoire. It's really nice repertoire. Beethoven and Janáček, Schumann, really great repertoire. And then I'm playing a concert on Thursday night.
And which sounds, we've already had a sneak preview. It was
fabulous.
fabulous.
Bits of some of the pieces, but thanks. Yeah, it's a nice programme. It's sort of epic, but hopefully in a good way.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time.